Hi to cousins, Rusty the Reseller here. Gonna put out a video today on the old YouTube channel, Rusty the Reseller, of all of this nice silver, gold-filled, vintage, antique jewelry, watches. We're gonna show how to inspect these, talk about values, and how to sell them, and items similar to this. Check us out, Rusty the Reseller. We got a bunch of goodies to go through. How to, cousins? It's old Rusty here. Folks, if you like jewelry, are interested in it, maybe you found some, bought some, inherited some, and you need to look through it, you don't really know what you've got, this video is for you. We're going to take a look at lots of pieces of jewelry, antique, vintage, and newer pieces made of silver, gold filling. How do you tell the difference? Where do you look? All of those answers are going to be provided to you in this video to the best of my ability, and I'll also give you tips on what I think the value of things are, where I'm going to sell them, what I'm going to try to do. Hopefully this will help some people out there, but without further ado, let's look at a bunch of stuff I've got right now that I've been looking at and prepping to sell. Well, here we are taking a look here at some jewelry, and we're going to go over morning jewelry a little bit later in this video, which you can see some examples of here, and we'll talk about that stuff. But what we're really going to focus on now are these items, these lovely items right here in front of us. And so first off, what you see here are Victorian era stick pins. Now, what do they use stick pins for? Well, a variety of things. It was fashionable to wear these things on your scarf or on your lapel. On your dress, you could put them in your hat. And now it's not a hat pin per se. Hat pins are similar, but they're much longer. So these are just little stick pins. It was very fashionable. And at this time, a lot of these were made out of precious metals like silver, gold, and platinum. They also incorporated oftentimes precious gemstones. And the ones you're looking at here, these three incorporate diamonds and sapphires. So this particular one right here that you're looking at is white gold. Okay, this is in 14 karat white gold. You've got about a 0.2 carat, so 20% of a 1 carat, and then a tiny little blue sapphire, square sapphire there at the bottom with this sort of floral motif. Quite pretty. I'm going to rotate her around so you can kind of take a look at this. It's quite nice. You know, this is coming in at, well, of course I'm going to drop it. This is coming in at probably, let's call it, you know, 2.5 to 3 inches long, right? As you can see by the way it's fitting in my hand here. Now, a lot of times these Victorian pins are not marked with the metal content, because there was a certain time in history when the law required people who created jewelry to stamp them. And they can be in various places. If they are stamped, they can be on the back side or they can be on the pin itself, sometimes halfway down, oftentimes up here by the shank. Now, in this particular case, if we zoom in, if I'm able to do it, you'll see a very light stamp that's kind of underneath where the diamond is set. Can you see that? Barely? Yeah, you can kind of see that. So I think this is actually an 18 karat. I was going off memory, but seeing that stamp, I believe this is 18 karat white gold with a diamond. It's a beautiful piece. That sold yesterday for about $225. Next up, we've got this one in yellow gold, and look at the color of this sapphire. It is beautiful. Quite translucent, a lighter blue color, likely what they would call a Ceylon sapphire, possibly from Burma. And it's a little bent here. This is a thicker pin. It's set in yellow gold this time. Again, this floral motif. And as you notice, as I spin around the top of this pin itself, you can see some marks there. It's the top of a 14K mark. So it wasn't stamped real well, and I got part of the stamp there, but testing it, with like testing kit like this, when you've got the testing slab here. Well, come on and zoom. There we go. You've got 14 karat, 10 karat, or 18 karat, and you scratch her on there and you test it, and so that helps verify. A beautiful little piece. This sold for just under $200 yesterday, which is a good price. At gold weight, this is probably only worth about $30 or $40. Right, so the next other 150 is coming in for just like the uniqueness, the age, and also the quality of that stone. Next up here is another one. This is again a diamond in the center with 4 nice blue sapphires. You've also got some 0.1 or really tiny sapphires, 4 in the quadrants there as well. But this really beautiful blue color, these could be natural, these could be synthetic. They were making synthetic stones back in the 1800s as well, for some of those who may not know. So just because it's an antique piece doesn't mean they're original, authentic, earth mined stones. Again, this one is set in white gold. You see no stamp on the back there. And as I rotate it around, let's look down further and see, as I rotate, I see no marks. So this is, again, one of those that I had to actually do a test on to verify. The diamond in this is slightly smaller, probably a 0.15. So again, we're not, we're not winning any records here on the size of these stones, but again, it's sort of it's a callback to yesteryear, what was popular at the time. Sapphires, diamonds, and gold, all still valuable and popular. It could be argued that they're much more valuable today than even back then. So when you get an old piece, it's really cool. Now, I try not to, I don't look for these. If I get good deals, I'll buy them. But because people aren't really wearing stick pins a whole lot anymore, your buyer pool is quite small, right? It's only people who are collecting or want to do certain things with them, or maybe they're harvesting the stones and melting the metal. They're not doing that with mine because I'm going to sell them at a high enough price that it wouldn't make financial sense for them to do that. But I'm more interested in things like rings or earrings, stuff like that. So I got to move these to side because, as you can see over here, I've got some labels. I've got labels. All 5 of these rings and those 3 all sold off of auction yesterday, which is why this is my last opportunity to try to film this and show you, because these are going out the door. Let's start over here with one really nice piece here. This is it's about a half carat, okay, maybe 0.6 carat solitaire, a diamond in a very beautiful 18 karat white gold ring. And the thing that's so cool about this, aside from this filigree design, so it's very well made, it's attractive, very Art Deco, kind of looking. It's sort of a transitional piece because it's not straight up Art Deco, it's not hard lines, but it's not exactly Art Nouveau either, because you've got these symmetrical shapes up here, the circle within, more of a 6-sided piece here. I believe that's 6 sides, if I can ever zoom. But anyways, the thing that's exciting about it is when you turn it to the side and you look, you discover that there is a bird motif on here. Do you see this little bird sitting on like a little limb with like flowers, like that floral? So if I move over, same thing on this side, you've got this cute little bird. Now I got to tell you, if you're into older design jewelry and you don't need to have a huge rock on your finger, what a gorgeous type of a ring for like an engagement ring or some sort of a gift. I think it's beautiful. And this particular ring sold for a little over $500, which is not great. If I had waited longer, I probably could have got more for sure. And certain if I had a standalone store, I probably could have sold it for more. But we just got back from vacation. We need to get some money in. The economy is kind of in uncertain times. People are not buying a whole lot of antiques right now, so I got to make moves. I got to do what I got to do to sell this stuff. And so here we are. Next up, we have this beautiful, this is a sapphire. This is probably a 0.3 carat blue round sapphire ring. Again, a beautiful filigree design. This is also an 18 karat white gold. By the way, I haven't mentioned it, but if you want to see if these are marked, almost always If they're marked, they're going to be on the inside of the band. Let me back up to this ring and see if this one will reveal its mark. I can't remember which of these have them. Yep, there we go. Do you see that right there? 18K. Come on now. Yeah, you can see it right there on the inside of the band. It's stamped. There are times when they're stamped on the bottom, like in the center, but if you're ever having a ring size, or if you ever buy a ring that's been sized, it's almost always going to be at the very bottom centers where they size it up or down, unless, of course, it's been re-soldered together at a place where it broke. So if a band broke in another spot, maybe they'll resolder it there. But that's how you look to see if it's marked. Again, antique jewelry, just because it's not marked doesn't mean it's not made out of a precious metal. You need to do your testing as well. This one is one of my favorites of the lot. And it is, what you're looking at is a cluster diamond ring. There we go. Beautiful. You've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 outer diamonds and a central diamond that's larger. This is etched on the sides, as you can see, and it has black enamel paint. Now, the thing that's unique about this piece is that this enamel paint was actually applied by me. Even these little circular spots here by the central diamond, which at one time, originally, it had this enamel and it was wearing off. And so I bought this at a discount. I have black enamel paint, and I have set up to magnify, to look very closely, in very small brushes. And I restored this piece and then sold it. It's a beautiful, it's yellow gold. I believe it's 14 karat, if I'm remembering correctly. I'm looking to see if the stamp is there. This is another one of those. It's probably mid. I'm thinking mid, 1850s to 1870s, something like that. Another beautiful piece, size 7, so it's kind of in that range of common, ladies' ring sizes. Next up, let's check this one out. This is a unique bird. This is again set in yellow gold. Pretty basic band here, although we have an etch on the edge coming up. And this is an interesting thing. So this stone is actually a blue zircon. All right, and this is probably about a 2 to 2.5 carat. I'll have to look back at the listing stone. And it has a couple things going on. First off, a beautiful blue stone, blue zircon, is starting to go up in value. And it's a good size, over 2 carats actually. Along the side here, you're going to see is a string, and I do mean a string, of seed pearls. Now, the string is not actually string. The string is, in fact, a small wire. So this has been strung, the seed pearls have been strung on a wire and then tied off and were soldered right here at the bottom underneath of the stone. Do you see that? If you were to untie that and pull that with like some pliers, all of those seed pearls would fall right off. We're not going to do that, of course. But that's just an enhancement, makes it unique, makes it a little interesting. And then on the top, you'll see this is a multicolor piece. I would not necessarily characterize it as Black Hills gold, where you have 2 or 3 different shades of gold based off of different alloys that are mixed in with the gold. But you can see right here we have more of a yellow, like more of a greenish gold on the side with the flowers, more of a rose gold in the center, and then this is more of a traditional color of gold. So you've got hyper yellow, kind of normal yellow, and then more of a coppery rose gold. So it's a 14K band. The leaves here clock in at 12 karat, and the rose gold clocks in at 18 karat. So it has 3 different gold carat purities within this single piece, and it features a stone, a beautiful blue stone. Look at that chromatic color there, and then these seed pearls. Beautiful piece. This sold for a little over $600. And I got a message from the buyer saying that they bought this to replace one that they used to have, and they sent me a picture of the same ring on their finger. So they were delighted to find the ring that they didn't have anymore in the same size, and that's why they bought it. And then last up, we have as this tag indicates, this is a 1.7 carat ring with a halo of diamonds, a total of 0.32 carats of diamonds, and it's 14 karat yellow gold. Again, one of these beautiful Victorian era rings with three nice, one oval blue sapphire in the center, two slightly smaller round ones on the outside, and then you've got this halo of diamonds. That is just spectacular, folks. I love this piece. This is another one with the enamel. The enamel this time is blue to match, like a very, rich cobalt blue that matches the, or even a darker blue, matches the these sapphires. Now, ideal sapphire color is a little bit lighter than this. But these, I wouldn't consider these like black sapphires. I mean, these things, you see the blue hue. They're deep, beautiful. If I put a light on it, they would really pop. But it's a nice piece. 5.6 grams is a good amount of weight for a women's ring with a stone in it. I was quite happy. This one also sold in that $500 to $600 range. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but I've got 5 rings, 3 stick pins, and here are all of these different labels. So I got to get these all packaged up, excited. And this is the kind of stuff, not only, folks, do I look for, do I restore and repair, but as you can see, this stuff is selling. So the total amount of money that came in yesterday for all of these pieces of jewelry, and again, we're talking 8 pieces of jewelry, 5 rings in these, it was about $5,200. Now, on a better day, in an economy when it's more of a seller's market for antiques and not as much of a buyer's market, I would say we're way more into a buyer's market right now than we are a seller's market, because people are being real tight with their money and need money, so they're selling stuff cheaper. But, in a better market, this diamond, 18 karat diamond ring, I could get more like $1,200 to $1,500 for. Instead, it sold for like between $5,000 and $6,000. So, ideally, I just got about $5,200. This could be closer to double, more $8,000, $9,000 when things shift to be more of a buyer's market. So if you have income to be buying stuff like this on the cheap right now, go for it. But if you need to sell, if you've got items like this, just be aware they're not selling for as high as you would like right now. But I will say, if you have a bunch of scrap gold or things you don't care that much about, gold and silver are both really high right now. So it is a good time to sell that stuff if you don't have a lot invested in it. As is a typical thing on a week, I'm taking a break from doing the typical kind of inspecting and photographing and listing items to put out, but I'm running over here real fast to a thrift store and I'm making some donations. So yes, I buy items online, locally. I go on the road. Sometimes I take road trips to do sourcing. But when stuff sits in my store for months, a year or two, and I lower the price, and then I delist it, I relist it, and then I put it in a group and it doesn't sell, and I try doing it individually again. Maybe I try changing the photos. Maybe I try changing the title. Buy it now, auction. If this booger does not want to sell, back when I started, it was often that I had made a mistake. I thought it was going to be more desirable or sell easier for more money than it ended up being. And I had to learn some tough lessons from that. That still happens on occasion, but more often than not now, what happens is I'll buy lots of items, a group of items, because I know that there's enough value in it as a whole that I can make money. And I'll get a group of items, I'll sell a handful, I'll make all my money back. Now I got no money invested in it anymore. Sell a few more, now I'm into profit. Well then, that last bit, that last 20% or whatever was in there, I would never have bought it on its own. It didn't have the value. Since I have it, I'm going to try to sell it. But if it doesn't sell, that stuff, then it adds up. And then every month or so, I have a tub or two full of stuff. It does have some value, but it's just, I can't hardly even sell it in a lot. And if I can't sell something for $10 or more, it's not even really worth my time finding it, packaging it, doing all that. So I put it together and I bring it to a local thrift store, a thrift store that serves my community. So the money goes to help, the homeless populations, or maybe it goes to a children's home, or maybe it goes to help for devices and equipment for aging populations, or who knows what. But I like doing that, and so I roll over here, and so that's what I'm doing. I'm just going to drop this stuff off. I've got about 3 tubs worth of stuff. Some of the things in here, folks, looking at, I probably bought 4 or 5 years ago. It's stayed in the warehouse that long, it hasn't sold. So if at least I'm patient with stuff. But man, at a certain point, I'm like, get out of my face. I don't want to see you anymore. You're not worth it. You're not worth it to me. But they don't mind. They'll put it out for $5. Somebody will get it. They'll be happy that they got something that was worth $10. They paid $5 for or $4 for, and then that charity gets that money, and it supports whatever nonprofit that it is in connection with, and I like that. So the other thing is, as a business, there is a certain threshold of monetary value that you can actually claim as a tax deduction if you donate things. So if you donate items, you have to document that, of course, and I don't know, I'm not a tax consultant here, I'm not an accountant. Look it up yourself, but you can, if you get a receipt, and you can show that. I always take photos, general photos of what I put out to donate, and then I keep that, and then when it comes tax time, there's a small portion that I can deduct from taxes. So that's nice. And I usually do a little sourcing. After I drop off the stuff, I roll around to the parking lot, and then I go in, and then I end up maybe buying something. So they it's a help both ways. I'm both a buyer and I'm a donator to these establishments. So I'm still working here. I say I'd take a break. It's not really a break. It was more like a change of activity, something I needed to do. So I went out, I did a little sourcing this morning, didn't really find anything. Tried to sell some stuff to a place I've sold before. They weren't buying today. This has been what I've been experiencing lately. People are not wanting to pay good money, or they're needing to make money. They're not needing to buy stuff. They're needing to earn money, and that's where I'm at. I need money to be coming in. I got bills to pay. So when I roll back, I'm going to go through some of this other jewelry stuff and some other things that have just come in recently that I'm looking to sell. We're talking about more jewelry. We're talking about some old antiques, small collectible items. We're talking about action figures and the like. So let me go drop these puppies off, and then I'll be back in a flash. Next up, we have this beautiful little assortment of gold-filled antique Victorian era jewelry. And starting off, I just wanted to show you these because they're a really good example. These are beautiful old eyeglasses from the turn of the century. You can see this etched metal frame here. Beautiful look. Still together, still functional. This is the places you want to look on these to see if they incorporate silver or gold content into metal, which a lot of these old ones did. First off, on the side here, on the inside, you want to look to see if anything's written. And if I can get in the light, here, trying to zoom in here for you so you can see without overshadowing it with the light. There you go. Do you see that down there? It indicates that this is 1/20th 10 karat gold. And also on the bridge here over your nose, it will oftentimes have an indication of what it is, the branding. You see that right there? It's 1/10 12 karat. Let me say KGF, karat gold filled. So these have gold content. Some people collect them, and they like the look of them and that kind of thing. Sometimes people swap out the lenses and put lenses for them, and then they wear the frames. And then other times they buy them just to scrap for the gold. So just know to look out for that. You can sometimes find those, again, at thrift stores in these in these eyeglass and sunglass bins, and they just don't know any better what it is. Here's a little picture, like a little brooch that has a black and white photograph of a man from probably the 1900s, early 1900s, teens. And this is a gold-filled piece. You can kind of see that patina. The only downside about this one is that at some point, the little hook here that held the pen broke off. So it's not able to be worn, but still could be collected or used And then various little brooches and cameos. Here's a pretty little one right here of some women dancing around, which is very common in that time. There are women, they just would get dresses on, they go outside, and they just dance around, apparently. It seems like that was what was happening. But you can see this little cameo, a little kind of a shell. This is gold filled. Here's a little brooch that incorporates a small cameo, and then some little, they look like faux pearls really, but they're just little round pieces of either glass or plastic. And we've got, this is a gold filling as well. You can see that kind of, how that color is. And then this is a much larger, prettier piece here of, this is almost like a Greek looking profile, but you got a woman with all these flowers up in her hair. And maybe she just got done dancing. Maybe she's heading out to dance. All we know is that these Victorian women were all about the dance. Another old, really cool piece. This is not marked, so you have to test it. You have to do a scratch test, or if you have other equipment to see. It turns out that it's gold filled. It's not solid, but a lot of times they are. And then here's another beautiful piece. Hand-painted portrait of a woman with some sort of vegetation in her hair. And then you've got, you know, this little outfit she's got on. Almost looks like silk. Beautiful. Set in this really pretty, you know, mounting here for a pin, a brooch. This is one that has that old C clasp there. It's an indication that it is older. It's made of porcelain, as you can see. It has a little bit of a stamp, but I'm not sure what it's trying to say. That might have been just a model or number or something. But it's gold filled, but it's a very pretty piece. And then down here, we got a couple of interesting items. I do really well with pocket watch chains and fobs. This is a really cool one. So this is the typical bar piece at the end. This is also gold filled. Usually doesn't mark it there, but if it's solid gold, sometimes there's a mark on the bar. The chain won't ever have anything on it. But down here at the end, when you got the little clip that would clip onto either the pocket watch or in this case a fob, on the end, right there, do you see the etching right there on the end of that? A lot of times that'll either say the brand name or it might indicate it's gold filled or solid gold. This one says Simmons, S-I-M-M-O-N-S, which was a common brand of pocket watch chains from the time. And on the end you have a really interesting item I've never come across until now. This material is called goldstone, which is what they would say is a misnomer because it is neither gold nor stone. It's some sort of a synthetic created thing that has this gold-colored dust in it. But this is encasing what you may already suspect, which is that this is a miniature compass. And as I turn this around, it will move towards, if I shake it, it'll move towards north, which is really a cool thing. Very old. I don't see a whole lot of those. That should sell pretty well for me. And then this beauty right here. We're looking at a Victorian era, completely gold-filled, etched design with a little loop here so you could put it on a chain as well. This is a mechanical pencil, folks. And you would have this little portion here that slides up and down. It catches. You can get that out of the way. It would slide up, and if it had lead in it, you could move the lead up and down, so you could carry yourself around a little pencil if you needed to use that for something. And then sort of the cherry on top is that the end here has a beautiful gemstone, which, based on the light, you may not be able to tell real well, but it has a piece of amethyst, a purple amethyst stone that is actually quite bright and beautiful, but not in this fluorescent light. It's flat on the top, but it has the cut on the bottom portion of it. Very beautiful piece. These sometimes sell for $150 to $200 by themselves. If I wanted to scrap this entire lot just for the metal, not saying I will, because you've got other value here in my opinion, but if I was to scrap this entire lot, I could probably get honestly, about a 2-for-1 money or dollar based on gram weight. So if this was 100 grams of gold-filled jewelry, I could get about $200 for it today. A year ago, it was a 1-to-1, but gold has gone so much up in value that gold gold filled, gold, stuff like this still is bringing really, really good amounts. But I'm thinking I could probably get 75, 80 bucks off of this. I'll probably put these two together, get maybe 80 or 90 bucks out of the two of those together. I may put, a couple of these things together, maybe 40 bucks for those. I could see myself getting possibly $80 to $100 for this. And again, this could be upwards of $150 or more. It just depends on these glasses. I think standard, I get $30 to $35 for things of this condition when they're gold filled. Here's a nice little lot of Southwest jewelry. So what we got right here is what would be considered a graduated bead necklace. Graduated because it gradually changes size. You up here by the clasp, you got this, I got to take this off, but up here by the clasp, you've got the chain that everything's on. You've got these smaller beads, and then it works its way up to these larger beads at the end. If you take a look at the clasp, which is where you usually need to look, sometimes on a pendant, but usually it's on the clasp itself, there'll be a small etched spot that will indicate that it is made out of sterling silver, or if it's made out of silver. And you can see right there by the little, right here by this little tiny, by my thumbnail, by where it attaches there, on this hoop, there is a marking that's, I guess it's kind of being covered. Here, let me do this. Let me do this. So what we're looking at here is on this hoop right here, there's a little etched portion that it says 925. So that indicates that this is made out of sterling silver. We've got another necklace here that is a different shape. Let me kind of wiggle it back to its original shape here. It's got entangled on me because I just had it laying here in a pile. All right, so if I lay it down like this, same idea. This is more shiny. This is tarnished a little bit over time. This is newer, but it is still sterling silver. And you look up here at the top, and on these pieces right here, you can see right here, there's a little marking that says sterling on it. So these are two Southwest style, made most likely in the Southwest, possibly by some sort of Native American tribe, but I don't know for sure because it's not marked that way. And then we have this beautiful little buckle set here that has little pieces of turquoise. It's more of a greenish turquoise, but it is turquoise. And this is also made out of sterling silver. Now, the difference here is that this is actually not marked sterling, so you have to do a scratch test. Now, the downside of scratch tests for silver is that though it can indicate if something has silver content in it or not, it will not tell you the quantity. And silver jewelry can range from 800 silver, 900, 925, 935, 950. And those are all different percentages. 92.5% silver, 900 or 95% silver if it's 950. So you can't know. It's unlike gold where you can tell specifically, roughly if it's 10K, 12K, 14K, that kind of thing. And then here's a beautiful pendant. It incorporates 4 large cabochon turquoise stones, and then a couple of pieces of coral. You flip her over on the back, it's flat, you can see a little bit of tarnish, very indicative of sterling silver. And then up here on the bail, it is etched, you can see that indentation there. If you zoom in, that says 925 as well. So that's how I know it's sterling silver. Next up is this. This is a slide for a bolo. So you'd have a piece of braided leather, most likely, that comes down with some cap ends that would also be silver. This is one of those that says sterling, as you can see on the back, and then it has a mark, a P and this squiggle line. Maybe it's a J to the side or something, but that is an artist's maker mark. So this was not a large manufactured piece that they made thousands of them. This is something that was put together by an artisan. And it's a beautiful piece of turquoise there. Unfortunately, I don't have the bolo portion, just the slide, but people buy those to put on. That will be a nice little lot. Yesterday, I bought these 2 silver necklaces. I paid $45 for this one, and I paid $55 for that. You may or may not be surprised to hear that this type of necklace has sold recently, exact same size and look, on eBay for $175. So my hope was, hey, I can buy both of these. I can sell one, make up all of my costs for both and be in profit, and then whatever the second one sells for will be profit all by itself. But the Southwest jewelry can bring some really good amounts. I imagine this will probably sell for 75, 80 bucks. This combo here, people are trying to get $300 for. So even if I just threw it up for $250, I imagine I could sell that. And then this one is a little bit of, I'm not quite sure what it to go for, but I think easily I could get $75 for that piece right there. Older jewelry made out of sterling silver will often not be marked. So again, unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of tips for you because again, you can test to see if there's silver content, but you may not know the exact amount. This has all the hallmarks of being made out of sterling silver. It's an older piece and it incorporates what they would call like an egg yolk color of amber. So this is an amber stone, a cabochon set in this kind of, you know, sort of a basic looking ring, bezel there. Here's another ring, and this is incorporating amethyst stones, baguette amethyst stones in the center, and then little pieces of what is called marcasite, which is actually a mineral, and it's almost like galena. It's a silvery color, and they usually put little tiny pieces in here, and they shine, you know, as you move it, they kind of shine. It's a cool shield sort of design, definitely sort of an Art Deco era. We're looking at 1920s, 1930s, my guess, on this ring piece. And then this right here, we got some more Asian influenced pieces. We've got a piece of green and white jade carved out in a floral design. This would have been likely in a brooch at one point. You can see it's flat on one side, so this was probably mounted in something made out of silver or gold, and at some point it was removed. Probably someone scrapped the metal, and we're left with that. And then here is a little, jade. You've got a little marking and a character in the center. I don't know what that character says. It's prong set, also an etched design in sterling silver, quite old as well. And then I just came across this yesterday at an antique store. I paid $10 for it. And this is something, it's Asian. You can see this design up here, which is, some of these are kind of have Greek origins, but also Asian origins. And it has this enamel around it, beautiful enamel coloring. It's etched, and this is a design type called cloisonné. And this is made out of silver, and you can see it's got this glossy finish. This is actually a pendant, so it would hang on a chain up here from this little ring. And this was made to hold something. Maybe it held snuff. Maybe it held some sort of medicine. Maybe it held powder of some kind, makeup, who knows what. You could use it for various things, but it would hang as a pendant. Some cool pieces. I'm not exactly sure what these will go for, but if I put those in a lot together, I could get at least $50, I believe. I think it's reasonable to say I could get $40 for each of these rings. They wouldn't sell overnight, but I would sell them. And this I'm not quite sure. I haven't researched, but like I said, I paid $10, so I want to sell it for at least $50 if possible. A few more pieces here. We got, this is also an older ring, and it is it's got this black onyx stone in here, plus all of this marcasite. Again, another one of those including marcasite, and it's made out of sterling silver as well. I'm not quite sure. I'm looking on the inside here. Yep, so this would likely have been made prior to the time that they had purity laws and required stamps on things, so it didn't have it. This is a really cool little piece. It has a ring, a carved ring of mother of pearl, and then hanging from it is this, what looks like a bell, but if you look closely, it's this little rabbit sitting at in a seat, eating some soup or some breakfast, some porridge. It's etched on the back. It says sterling silver with some sort of a maker mark. And it does have a little ring in there. What this was is actually a rattle, a baby's rattle, a toy for a baby back in the early 1900s. This is sterling silver, etched, really cool looking. I'm going to sell it in this condition. It is tarnished, but people who like this old jewelry would usually prefer it not to be cleaned because they like that old patina. You can see the bail is shaped like a buckle, like a belt and a buckle. Cool piece, somewhat unique. You don't find those all that often. Here's a beautiful little piece as well. My guess is this is made out of 800 silver. Oh, yep, and there it says it. As you can see underneath of this pin, right here, 800. So this is 80% silver as opposed to your standard 92.5%, 925. But it is a brooch, it is a butterfly, and you have this enamel green, yellow, blue paint, beautiful little piece, animal or insect or designed jewelry often sells pretty well for me. Cats and dogs do well, butterflies, bees, insects can also sell well. And then I just wanted to show you a few examples of quarters, Washington quarters, that are made prior to 1964. We've got several 1943s and a 1934, but these are all heavily used. You can see how much they've been, worn through circulation and use. But these quarters are not worth 25 cents. Silver is right, it's approaching $40 an ounce. It's around $39 an ounce. So you're going to get $6 to $8 of value out of these just in the silver content, believe it or not. So go through your coins. Don't accidentally spend or, sell these for under the value. If I were just selling these for scrap, I wouldn't sell these for less than $30 on eBay, just these four. And it's only this is only $1 face value, right? 25 cents a piece. But go through your dimes and your quarters and your nickels. You might be surprised what you come across. A few more pieces here. Lovely little bracelets and a bangle. And the deal with these is that they just look like they could be regular old costume jewelry. And yet every one of these is actually made out of sterling silver with gemstones. So this is a part of the set. I have a necklace and the bracelet. And you can see up close, this has tons. This is what they would consider a tennis bracelet. That's the style. These links that all have stones next to one another. If you turn it over and you look underneath where the clasp would be, you'll see a little mark in there at the edge, right here by my thumbnail. That's where you want to look. Or the other side, where it links up, underneath of that as well, sometimes. Not on this end, on this one, it doesn't have it. It has it over here. But it tells you this is made out of sterling silver, and these are all cubic zirconia gemstones. So they're not earth mined, they're lab created. Here's something that's really a cool antique piece, is another little bracelet. Looks like it could just be glass, but this is actually a stone called moonstone. And you can see that as you turn, it kind of changes color and kind of reflects the light back at you in a sort of an interesting way. You can see the back, that tarnish looks very much like silver to me based on my experience. And then if you look at where the clasps go together, again, on one side you've got kind of a bar, but you can see right there it's upside, well, nope, it's not upside down. 925, not a great mark, but this is sterling silver. It's old. That'll be a great piece to sell. Right here we have another one, sort of a double link tennis bracelet with these very light blue stones, the type of stone that looks like it could be either topaz or aquamarine. Again, you've got the clasp here. Let's flip her over and see what we're looking at. Slide it down. Oh, yep, there it is, 925 at the top of it. It says Italy. And so we know this is sterling silver with some nice gemstones. So the next thing to do before you sell it is to get out your tester, if you have a way of testing stones, and see what these are. I haven't tested them yet. My guess is they are topaz, because this mini aquamarine of this uniform color would be quite valuable. Likely would be in gold instead of silver. Topaz, are plentiful. There's lots of different colors, and the light color you see quite a bit in jewelry. And then last up, you have this bangle. It almost looks just like a piece of costume jewelry, but really, this is not glass. This is actually made of onyx, as well as this top here. The silver portion, if you flip her over and you examine the inside, you'll see, yep, on the right and left side, it says 925. A lot of times you can find things like this for $3 or $4. They think it's costume, but it's not. It's actually made out of a mineral and incorporates sterling silver into the mix. Got a nice little group of watches here. Vintage watches can be quite valuable depending on a few factors. Obviously, if they're in functional order, they're going to attract more buyers and be more valuable than ones that are not operational. You got to know the type that you have. Some take batteries, some are manual wind, so you wind them up to get them started, and then there are others which are based off of kinetic activity. They're automatics, so they automatically operate based on as you're moving around. And some of these have some decent brands. So these two right here, as you can see, are Hamilton brand. These are gold-plated, rolled gold, you know, bezel Hamiltons. This is what this one says automatic. Even though it's not technically automatic, you do have to wind it to get it to operate. Here's a vintage old brand that can bring some good values, Zodiac. And this is called the Zodiac Hermetic. And then this one is another brand that can bring good money. It's called Vulcain, V-U-L-C-A-I-N. Vulcain right here. And this is the Grand Prix. So both of these are working. You wind them up. You can see that this has got a nice little kind of chrome back. It's got the model number there, or maybe that's the case number. If you were to take that case number off and look at the back of the movement, it wouldn't usually have serial numbers, and you'd know if is it a 17 jewel, what is it. This one over here is also a Hamilton, and this is kind of one of those earlier styles. It's a smaller face than a lot of the watches today. Men wore, in a lot of cases, wouldn't wear smaller size watches back in the day, 50s and 60s, which is what these are from. Even Seiko, certain ones, this is a Seiko Model 5. It's a 21 jewel, that's good. The problem is, look at all that in there, that corrosion. Looks like there was some moisture going on. And I wound this up and it's not working. Also, look at this plating, it's just kind of degrading. So if this was in functional state, this could sell for $40 or $50. In this condition, I'll be lucky to get $15 for it. But somebody out there knows about those, will clean it or repair it. So I'll probably still be able to sell it. Here's another example of something that at first glance looks like it might be decent. We've got an Elgin pocket watch, gold-filled pocket watch. You can see by this blued steel on these dials that I know that this is going to be from the teens or 20s or later, because there's a certain date, and I can't remember what it is, but prior to that, they didn't have either the technology or they didn't use it for the hands. You turn it over, at first glance, I'm noticing, okay, look at this little spot here in the middle of there. That's some pretty heavy wear. So I know this isn't a solid gold case just from looking at it. It has this kind of cool etching, but you know, over time with the wear, it has certainly kind of come down and off. Up here, when I first got it, I attempted to turn it to get the movement going, and I couldn't get it to do it. And I figured out as I pulled a little bit, well, that puppy is not even fully in there. So I'm glad it hasn't fallen out, but again, that's going to require some work by somebody to repair that. Let me unscrew this and show you what the inside looks like. Now you can see as I pull it out, I wound it, and it is working. It is operational. The problem is that this little crown here and the attachment is not going all the way down in there, not sticking in. And that's the problem. Something's missing or something's broken, needs to be repaired. Here's the case. And there's two types of cases. Some kind like this unscrew. There are other kinds that have a little lip for your nail, and you can pop them back, and they attach at the bottom of the case. This one right here, the Phase, F-A-H-Y-S, is the brand that made the case. Montauk, I think, is a model of a type of case, and it says guaranteed 20 years. What that means is that this is not a solid gold case. If it was, it would likely say 10K, 14K, 18K, something like that. Or maybe just the number 14 or number 18. In some rare cases, they don't have that. But when they don't have the number in the K, they're usually gold filled. Another indication that this is not solid gold is that it's quite thick and hard. Gold is quite valuable. And even back then, when they made solid gold cases, they didn't make them super thick because they didn't need a ton of gold. And usually when you bend these, they can bend really easily on the outside of the case. So if it's really thin, and sometimes that's a good indication that it could be solid gold. This says 20 years, which means the amount of gold that is on here, the gold filling on the outside, is supposedly supposed to be thick enough that you could use this, putting it in and out of your pocket for 20 years before you would start to see indications of the gold filling wearing down to the base metal, as you see here. So this was either dropped, most likely with an abrasion like this, it was dropped and scraped. But then there's other places here where just maybe the wear of use has started to wear through it. Gold filling is still good. I mean, it is gold content. This case and this movement inside is very clean. It looks very nice, and it is working. So hopefully I can still get maybe $80 to $100 out of this. This is not a rare one. It is a 17 jewel by the Elgin Company. You see down here at the bottom, there's a serial number. If you get on, you just look up pocket watch serial number, and you're going to come to the pocket watch database. And it's very easy. You just put in that number, and then you, from a drop down, you select Elgin, and it's going to tell you all that you need to know about this pocket watch. It's going to tell you the age of it, how many were made, what the model is. It's going to tell you how many jewels. It's going to tell you a variety of things, and that's good to have when you're going to use the information to list it for sale. So I got some wristwatches. They can, you can find things like this a lot of times at like yard sales and stuff like that for $5, $10, and it may be a $50, $75 watch or more. So just know to look on the back. You can look on the back a lot of times of these as well. Sometimes they'll have a number. You can look up that number, and sometimes that's an indication of the model of the watch itself. Now let's move over to these. These are also pocket watches, but they're a different type of a pocket watch. I would love to, I'm going to show you the outside for a minute, but then I really want to show you the inside because that's how you know what type it is. So this particular thing, you can tell it looks old. First off, it's got Roman numerals here. It's not even numbers. That's an indication it might be a little bit older. You've got what appears to be a gold-filled or even a solid gold set of dials, and they're very ornate. Look at that. Very cool looking. But the glass on this is what makes it the most unusual. Do you see this flat part here on the surface? If I rotate it up, you'll see that this is a convex, thick piece of glass, crystal, but at the top it's flat. And I don't know why. I think over time, just use it, it's become a little foggy looking. But this is an interesting piece. It's kind of rounded, you can see. And this one opens with a little button. You push this little button, and it actually opens up. And this particular type of watch actually sits down in a case like this. So what I can do is I can take now this portion and I can pull it out. I can remove it from this watch case. I'll do the same over here for this. You can see this is also a silver color. You've also got that gold color. You've got regular numbers now. And the same idea. You've got a little button back here that you can push. Although look at this, we got possibly a little damage there. That little metal piece that was sticking out is kind of, there's a hole there. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. But we're going to open this puppy up also, and then I want to show you the movements. We'll look at the movements. We'll also look at the cases. All right, now I've got these things open. So the cool thing is in the back of these, between kind of as a cushion, between the case that the movement's actually in and the outer case, sometimes you find interesting stuff. A lot of times on the inside, you're going to see markings that can indicate what type of metal the case is made out of. But then also, sometimes people put things in here, other notes or different stuff, and this is cool. So when you pull out a couple pieces of these old paper, look at this. This says, it's from October 23rd, 1851. So we know that this is at least from the mid-1800s. I've actually done research on this before. This is actually from the circa 1780, 1790. And this is what they call a fusee pocket watch. You can see how the movement is quite ornate and beautiful. The scroll work is just absolutely gorgeous. At the top, it says Bullingford, 7017 London. And that, I believe, would be roughly location of where the shop that created this would have been. So down here, you can see some markings, right? Up on the upper right, you see an anchor. And that anchor is indicating that this is made out of sterling silver. Some of the other markings would probably indicate where that it was produced at, or even possibly the company that made it. Fusee watches, unlike crystal watch or quartz watches that take batteries, and also unlike these manual and automatic wind watches, they are wound watches. In fact, there is in the back here a little hole that you would then put a key in on these little posts to crank it and wind it. But the way that they operate is via a chain that on the inside of this movement would wrap around these gears, and it would wind that up, and then you would just kind of tilt it like this, and then it would start moving. This is missing its chain, so I'm unable to do that. Now, there are people who repair fuse watches, and they have chains that they can use either from old stock or newer replacement ones. But that's a beautiful little piece. Moving over to here, same idea. And in this case, the movement looks slightly different. It's also a beautiful piece. Down here on the bottom, it says G. Moore, London, 6756. So perhaps that's a model number for this. Perhaps that's an indication of where it was made again. You can see the same types of movements. And then in the case here, it looks like in the bottom, is the remnant. Did it fall out? Yeah, here it is. The remnant of one of those chains. So this one's also broken, missing the chain, but this is what it would look like, is a chain like this is just a broken piece that I'll have to pitch because it's of no use anymore. It's too small and it's broken. But this is what they look like. So this would wind all around that movement. And that's how these things operate. This particular watch, I believe, also, as you can see these indications here, you can see a little lion down there in the bottom. So I believe that this was produced, the case at least, was produced in Birmingham, England, where they assayed a bunch of silver and gold products for the jewelry and watch industries. Very cool pieces. If functional, these things can sell for multiples of hundreds into the thousands of dollars. I don't know if they can work because I can't test them because they're missing the chain. So they are require and repair. I can sell them individually, or I can put them both in a lot together. If I were to put these in a lot together, given their condition, I would probably start it at an auction at $1,000, which to get these two at $500 a piece would be a really, really good deal. If I'm okay waiting, I might put them each up for $600-700 a piece and then see where that takes us. Here's something I love to find, and it happens from time to time, are these vintage ladies' wristwatches. Now, these are not in style anymore. People don't usually wear ones that look like this that much anymore. But you can find these sometimes in the bottom of like little watch jars and things at thrift stores and stuff, and sometimes you'll come across things like this. This is a Lady Elgin, and the same brand that made that pocket watch I showed a minute ago. The thing that's unique about this piece, though, is if you turn it over, you're going to see something on the back. And you'll see if I zoom in, Elgin, look at the bottom here. Whoop, turn it around. It says 14K gold. Folks, that means that this is made of 14 karat solid gold. The bezel, the thing that the movement is in. And if you test them, which I did, all of these little stones are diamonds. So this is a 14 karat gold diamond wristwatch. Things like this are not as popular as they used to be, so they don't bring quite the values you'd think, but they still can bring the $200, $300, $400 range, and sometimes above that depending on the brand. This is one of those manual wind ones, and it does operate. Here's another one, same idea. This one, Wyler, W-Y-L-E-R. I'm not real familiar with that brand, but do you see all these diamonds? 4, 5, 6 on either side. So we got 12 diamonds, and on the back, same situation, Wyler 14K. So this has got gold content in it. It has diamonds, and it is a functional piece. So I'm going to throw these both up for probably $300, $400 to begin with each and see how they go. There is a world where I might throw them both in a lot together, but I wouldn't drop the price. It'd be something like $700 or $800 as a buy it now and see what happens. Got another beautiful little ring here. Again, not more of like an older style, but we're looking at 3 centered diamonds around 0.2, 0.25 each, and then like a 0.1, 2 of those on either side. So we've got 7 diamonds in this sort of curved type of we've got the big settings in the center, and these wrap around. It's also a good size. It's around a size 7, 7.5, which is good, a good kind of middle ground size. This is made out of 14 karat white gold. How do I know? Well, if you were to look on the inside, you can see it right there, barely. There's that etched mark, and it will indicate. Well, you can't quite see it with the, but that's where you look. You look on the inside of it, and it will indicate the metal purity. That's how you find that in precious metal rings like gold and silver, and also platinum. A quick break from the jewelry discussion, although there's a couple pieces here that are kind of like that. I picked up a few things this week while I was out. This is not really stuff I was looking for. I'm really trying to move more towards stuff that sells the best for me. You know, jewelry, coins, gold, silver, things like that, action figures, sports cards. But I found this little lot. It was $5 in the bag. And what it is it's just a bunch of Tabacchiana stuff. You've got this little holder for a cigar. So you would hold the cigar in that. I guess for people who don't want to put the cigar in their mouth, they could puff on it with this. I think you'd want to clean that if you were going to use it. But then we have several other cigar cutters. Some are branded from certain places that they came from. And then this is an interesting thing. It's I don't honestly know exactly what its use is, but it's in here. It's a British buttoner. So I guess this is for clipping off or pinching the butts of something. Listen, I've been known to pinch a butt or two in my day. I did not use a tool like this. So, got to be careful doing that as well. Obviously, it has to be consensual. But then you got this over here. You got this little lighter with letters on it, a letter on it, and it's a Zippo. So this would have been a customized Zippo. And so for $5, you know, these sell for $14 to $18 by themselves. So I'm hoping to get $30 between this and the Zippo are the most valuable portion of this, and we'll see where that goes. But a couple other interesting things right here. You've got, this is like a little hand-painted portrait thing. I guess it's really just on paper. It might be watercolor. A silver tone holder. It's not silver, but it's that color. And on the back, it's got this interesting stuff. Souvenir from the Universal Theaters Concession Company in Chicago. So this piece was made in Germany for this Universal Theaters place. These were like little keepsakes, and I'm assuming that we're talking about theaters that were like maybe movie theaters, maybe plays. But my guess is that this is the image of someone who was in a show, and so after the show you could go and like, oh, you know, that's Sally or whoever it was, and you buy this little souvenir and you bring home. And it's cool that this has survived. I don't know what these go for, but I found it for $5. It is an antique, so I took a chance on it. This is cool. This is a blue glass, and it is it's like a belt buckle type of a situation. You can see that it's kind of rounded on this side. It's got it says Slovakia. All right, and it says Czech. So this is not unlike Czech glass that you would see in beaded necklaces and stuff from that era, but it was made in the Czech Republic. Vintage antique piece. That's kind of cool. People collect those. Then right here we've got this. Look at this little number here. This is like a porcelain, hand painted doll type, like the bust and the body, but then down here wrapped around the waist as if it's some sort of like a hula gown or skirt or something, is actually a brush. And so this would be the kind of thing women would have like maybe on their vanity or something. Oops, we spilled a little bit of that some powder. We were powdering our nose or our cheeks, so we're going to go ahead and just kind of dust that stuff off. My guess is that this is either not terribly old or this has been replaced, because it doesn't look like it's ever been used. It's in really good shape. It could be original, but again, this only cost $8, and I thought this is a $20 piece or more without even looking it up. I took the risk on it. Right here is a cool little bank, like a penny bank. It's made to look like an actual bank, like a home savings bank. It's cast iron, and then it's starting to wear off from use, but it had this kind of gold leaf painting on different edges and pieces of it. So you can turn that, unscrew it, which allows the top to come off. There's probably a little pole that comes down through the middle of it there that holds the top on, and then you can remove the top to access the coins. So what I don't know, I'm trying to see here, is where did the coins actually go in? Oh, there, right here, this little slot. Let me turn it around. On the back here, see this little slot? That's where you drop your little coins in. So that's a fun little old bank. That's cool. That, you know what, I could sell this by itself, but you know, if I held on to some silver quarters, nickels, dimes, silver dollars or things that I come across for a while and dump them in there, I could probably get a really good price for selling something, an antique or very old vintage, at the very least, bank with silver stuff. By the way, for those who don't know, silver, like quarters, Washington quarters, Jefferson nickels, and dimes that were minted prior to 1964. Well, that's primarily the case for dimes and quarters. Prior to 1964 are made of 90% silver. Did you know that? So if you had rolls or bags of old coins, don't just think that don't just take them to the grocery store and put them in the coin machine. You should check the dates. At the very least, you could check the mintage, where it was made and stuff. Usually there's a little mark, a D or a P or an S or something like that. But they're worth quite a bit more because silver's quite valuable right now. This is another thing I spent $5 on yesterday. And you can see underneath it here, there's some information. Who made it? You can see that this is a Gillette. Made in the USA, so it's a USA-made Gillette razor. Gillette has been around for a very long time. It's a little razor set. And you can see in here, this is a little container. It has little paper packaged razors inside here. I'll pull this out in a moment to show you. But you can see it's set up so you can see the guy's face. That's kind of cool. And then the handle is the coolest part of all of this, is this. Now, it looks almost like silver. It may be silver plated. But it's a cool little handle here for a razor. Very Victorian era, you know, curvy and stuff. And so that's cool. You just screw that on, you take the top part off here, you put a blade in, and you're ready to go. People collect these. This is definitely an older one and more unique than I usually come across. And then finally, we got this bag here. These are all Halloween candles, vintage candles. We've got some pumpkins here. As I rotate it, we got some ghosts. We got a black cat. We got a black bat. And then these right here, if I flip them over, are just little old eyeballs. And so, I don't know. I'll have to look them up to see. These things can sell between $10, $14, $20 a piece, depending on some of them. And then I could probably sell this whole lot for $50 or $60 when I find the right buyer. It may not happen overnight. Closer to Halloween for sure. I paid $20 for this bag, so not going to be the greatest return, but definitely people like these vintage Halloween items. Last up today, I wanted to show you something about to work on here. Is this set of case pocket knives. Of all brands of pocket knife collectability, I would say that Case is probably the strongest. They're not the oldest by far, but and definitely antique pocket knives of certain brands like Remington and stuff can sell for gobs of money. But a set like this is quite rare to come across. This is actually a consignment item. I didn't buy it. But these are from, this is a complete set from 1977. They come in their own case. But there's some problems here, folks, and you probably already see it. Now, the blades on these are in quite good shape. Thank goodness, because that's going to really, they're going to click in good. They're not going to be wobbly. But the problem here is look at the chrome ends, heavily tarnished. This comes from sitting in the case that they were in for decades. There's probably some moisture involved, and now they're starting to corrode. So what I've got to do if I want to get the good amount out of these is I need to find a way to clean them. I first off tried some semi-chrome polish is one of the things you can use, but I really wasn't making a whole lot of headway with it. Second off, I made a mixture of baking powder or baking soda, some lemon juice, and some vinegar. I scrubbed on there to no avail. You can see I did get some of it off, but not nearly enough. The blades are in good shape. So what I'm going to do next is I have an industrial Dremel type tool with little buffing pads on there in a little buffing compound. So that's what I'm actually going to try later today, is to get out that stuff and see if I can't clean the ends of these up. If I can get these in pristine condition, this set will sell somewhere between $2,500 and $3,000, believe it or not. If I sold these individually, they'll sell for $200 to $300. For the smaller ones, up to $400 to $600 for, you know, a couple of these larger ones. I might be able to make more money selling them, parting them out. I just hate to do that since there is the complete set and it comes with the case. But I'm going to get in here. This is an example of one of those things. Sometimes you get stuff in and it makes more sense to repair, clean, polish a thing before you sell it. Just don't ever do that with coins. Don't ever do that with sterling silver. Because you lose a good portion of your market if you do that. Now, knives are a different situation. People prefer those to be in as pristine condition as possible before they buy them. But if you have some nice old pocket knives, older ones sell well, particularly ones that have stag, which is like antler or bone handles incorporated with the metal, because they last longer and they're more durable. Cousins, thanks so much for sticking around with this long video, but I hope you learned a couple of things. There are some good vintage, antique, and even newer pieces of jewelry, watches, coins, all kinds of things out there that have value. Listen, I've been noticing that the economy is starting to slow. I'm seeing fewer sales. The amount that I'm selling per item is going down, and I'm reading articles talking about how cardboard box sales are down, various things that are sort of litmus tests for what's coming up with the economy. Gold and silver and jewelry are still hot items that are selling. Gold and silver are really high right now. Some of them at the highest they've ever been, or at least the highest they've been in the last 20 years. So take a look at the stuff that you've got. If you have questions, you can email me. I'm in the market of buying and helping consign for people as well. So if you need tips or you want to, get some services from me, please just email us. And the email is in our account here. You can take a look at that. Check out our eBay stores, Modern Day Merchant. And remember our podcast, the What Sold podcast. We also have What Sold YouTube channel as well. My brother's on there talking about the same types of stuff. He's a little bit more level-headed than I am. But take a look at that stuff, folks. Good luck treasure hunting, and we will see you real soon with some more tips. Let's go find some treasures. Rusty